Still ahead, Illinois has a new law to remove guns from alleged domestic abusers in certain circumstances. Why Governor J.B. Pritzker says there's more work to do to protect abuse survivors.
Let's take a look at traffic along Interstate 74 right around the immediate Quad Cities and taking a look at all 12 cameras. Yeah, we're getting around rush hour, but all is looking A-OK, and those roads will look pretty good tomorrow. Wednesday, that's a different story. We'll talk more about that in the second half hour of The Current on News 8.
Welcome back to The Current. Here are the headlines we're tracking in our second half hour, starting with ceasefire at risk. Why Hamas is saying it will delay the release of more hostages. Plus, President Trump says Palestinians will not have the right to return to Gaza under a U.S. plan for the region. Why this appears to contradict how other officials had interpreted Trump's plan for Gaza. Also tonight, education in Illinois. The local lawmaker now leading a powerful committee in Springfield with budget decisions right around the corner. And later, scammers are taking advantage of the tax season. We verify a new way thieves are trying to trick you. Our second half hour starts right now.
You're watching The Current on WQAD News 8 at 4:30.
Good afternoon. I'm Shelby Kluver. Thank you for joining us on The Current. We are going to get right to weather. We know a lot of you are watching Wednesday, which we have issued a weather impact alert for.
That's right. Shine up your snow shovels fill up your snow blowers with gas because it's definitely on the way. It's not if, it's how much. And we're going to kind of tweak our numbers just a little bit more. Now, keep in mind, we have a day and a half to go. And that still is a situation we could be dealing with, just tweaking those numbers. But it's looking pretty good that we're going to be doing some serious shoveling and not in one or two towns, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and talk about our weather impact alert that Shelby just mentioned. And the timing is still good. I think 6 a.m. on Wednesday, I think the morning commute may have some little impact, but it's going to be by the late afternoon, early evening hours where things could get very challenging. So this weather impact alert goes from 6 a.m. to about midnight, heavier snow later on, maybe some blowing snow, given the fact that this will be a dry, fluffy snow. So that challenge does come certainly later in the day. Now, that weather system is still off to the west of us, so we got at least another day and a half or so until we start seeing some of those snowflakes arrive around here. With that in mind, because of the amount of snow we could potentially be seeing, no surprise as far as the entire area under a winter storm watch during this period, where we are looking on average maybe 6 inches of snow, and it could be higher in some local areas as well. So this is the biggest concern that we have as we make our way into Wednesday. Right now, we've got more clouds rolling in, all dry. Temperatures are in the 30s. We may see a few of those flurries out to our west, make their way overnight, but otherwise, we'll keep it pretty dry. Current temperature at the Quad International Airport, right around 36 degrees. More on those snowfall estimates in just a few minutes, Shelby.
Thank you, James. Today, Hamas announced it's postponing the release of the next group of Israeli hostages. The group is accusing Israel of violating the terms of the ceasefire, saying the country is still targeting Palestinians with explosive attacks and not allowing enough aid to get into Gaza. 3 hostages were scheduled to be released on Saturday. Israel has not commented on the pause. Today, President Trump said Palestinians in Gaza would not have a right to return under his plan for U.S. ownership of the war-torn territory. That contradicts what other officials in his administration have argued, which was that Trump was only calling for the temporary relocation of its population. Now, last week, Trump floated his plan for the U.S. to take control of Gaza and turn it into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East. It comes as he's ramped up pressure on Arab states, especially U.S. allies Jordan and Egypt, to take in Palestinians from Gaza who claim the territory as part of a future homeland. This afternoon, nearly all Consumer Financial Protection Bureau work is on hold after an order from its newly appointed leader, Russell Vought. Now, that includes monitoring of banks, lenders, and financial giants. Employees were also told to work remotely this week, saying its headquarters building will not be open. Now, that directive comes from Vought, who is one of the key authors of Project 2025. There's no word yet on why, when, or how financial protections might change or be reinstated. And this just into the newsroom, President Trump's plan to push out federal workers remains on hold after a federal judge extended the pause today, saying it's paused until he issues a ruling. The deadline was originally slated for last week, but was temporarily blocked by a federal judge after several unions filed lawsuits. A hearing is set for today, but already more than 65,000 federal workers have accepted the buyout offer, which promises to pay them through September if they resign right now. The administration is telling workers if they don't accept the offer, they could lose their jobs. Illinois has a new law to remove guns from alleged domestic abusers in certain circumstances. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed Karina's law this morning, requiring police to remove guns from certain people who have an order of protection against them for domestic violence. It applies in cases where the victim successfully asks a court for a firearm remedy. The law is named after Karina Gonzalez, a Chicago mother who was shot to death, allegedly by her husband in 2023. Gonzalez had been granted an order of protection, but her abuser kept his gun. Advocates say the risk of gun violence after an order of protection rises after the abuser realizes they have lost control.
I've spoken with domestic violence survivors, advocates, and law enforcement officers about the impact and the efficacy of this legislation, all of whom agreed this is a step in the right direction. Taking lethal weapons from those who have already done harm and are an immediate and present danger to do further harm is simply common sense.
Pritzker says there is still more work to be done, including increased funding for police departments to enforce this law and to support survivors of abuse.